Hello there, and thank you so much for setting time apart and joining us on tonight's episode of Transforming Families. My name is Faith Kaulu, and I'm excited to have you on board. Today we are talking about children in conjunction and in collaboration with the PCA Church School Week with the theme Children Consider Trusting in God. And in case you missed any of the programs from Sunday evening from the launch of the PCA Church School Week 2021, do catch up with them on our YouTube channel or Facebook, CAC TV Kenya. But after this program, well, right about now we are discussing about children. A lot of issues have come up, especially with what is happening, the chaos in high schools and in schools, and we're wondering, are our kids under pressure? And there's a lot of blame game, the parents should do something, the teachers have the kids most times, and you want to understand just the whole journey of parenting and instilling discipline and teaching our kids to trust in God. And with me today is Mr. Onyango Okuta from Teach for Kenya. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Welcome.
Well, before we start our discussion, allow me to just give you time to introduce yourself and tell us more of what you do.
Okay, as you've heard, my name is Stephen Onyango Okuta. I am a teacher by profession, and most of the things that I do is all about teaching, coaching, and training. So I am a trainer at the organization called Teach for Kenya, and at the same time, we have partnered with the Spanish organization called Profuturo, in which we are training teachers entirely on the things that they should do, classroom practices, methodologies of teaching, and more so how to use the digital skills in the application of class activities and any other thing.
Yeah.
So that's me in short.
All right.
Yes.
Karibu. You, as a teacher, I think for me, I'd like to start with this question. Why would a lot of teachers view students as criminals, especially in high school? There's always that wrangle between Form 2 students and teachers. But let's just speak generally for teachers, how important it is for them to speak positive words to students while at school, other than wewe utakuwa mwizi, you'll just become a thief. Yeah, I think I'd like us to start off from there.
That's an interesting question. Yeah, because generally in Kenya we have good, excellent teachers who can deliver well. At the same time, you may spot a few rogue teachers who are here and there. I think yesterday from the news you heard of a head teacher who comes to school while drunk. And you see the picture that is created between the students and the parents and also the children. They are not able to comprehend well whether they should copy the teacher or do it their own way. So I can't say that teachers are bad, but we may have a few that are not expressing themselves the way they should do to the students. And again, we can also take it towards the upbringing of our children. So most of these children, in the modern world that you are living, they have so many, they have access to so many things that are not good. So it requires a good teacher to detect this and correct. Yeah. You can also not forget about the development that happens in their body. They're leaning towards self-actualization. They want to explore themselves. They want to identify themselves. So if this is not taken care of, they are likely to mess up their life, mess up their schools, and even influence the society in a negative way.
Okay, I think I like how you put it. We could set that aside. Hiyo ni beef nilikuwa nayo. But I think now let's talk about raising up our kids. Times have changed because initially a child walikuwa wa jamii yote. A neighbor could punish the kid, a neighbor here could send the kid to the shop. But nowadays, the story is different. My kid is my kid alone. If you notice something wrong, inform me, let me deal with it as a parent in my own way and how I know best. And do you think probably this has contributed a lot in what we are witnessing right now in terms of indiscipline, in terms of, what is happening in our schools and the blame game that is going on? Should we go back to the societal way of parenting?
That's a very, very important question, because once we as parents conceive the child, it becomes part of our nature, our genetical makeup. But once the child comes out, and then it comes to another environment called nurture. So it is this nurture that has so many problems. It will even influence your genetical makeup, because it changes you on how you do things. So when I start with the nurture, it means the environment around us. How do we relate with the environment? So it starts with the rules that you as a parent set in the house. Then as the child is growing, he or she abides with the rules that the parents have set up. So this is also translated in the schools. So in the schools, even in the churches, so you've heard of even children influencing other people, yet their parents or even their families, they come from a very religious family, but you may find one or two who is discordant to the normal way or the norm of the house. So it starts from there. So when we talk about the traditional way and the modern day, then it is quite different, because in our traditional day, a child belonged to the whole community, and therefore correction, punishment, and even guidance and counseling was bestowed upon the entire community. But for now, things have changed. There are so many laws, policies, and even bylaws that people have set with themselves to just make sure that the child conforms to what they want. Again, we can also blame it on the economic, social, and the political structure of a society. So when we talk about the economic, most of the parents are out there looking for ways to survive. So they lack enough time to be with their children, to identify and know them. So in between, when they are not around, these children are likely to misbehave or access things that will affect their future lives. Another thing we can talk of in an economic perspective is all about the love for money, love for wealth. We spoil these children. We've even stopped from giving them basics to giving them everything. So this child, whenever they lack anything or if a problem comes, they are likely to replace that with another thing. It can be stealing for them to maintain the same life. It can also be joining bad company to access it. So we as a society, we've stopped giving the basics for our children, for them to learn and earn theirs, and we've reduced them to kings and queens. So we give everything. So there's a problem. Then when we talk about social, we can talk about the way of life. Things have changed. The technology, they have access to good and bad things through technology. How people socialize, even you've realized maturity amongst the children is so fast nowadays. A child who is 9 years old is already pregnant. The other one has a girlfriend. You see, you realize these things. And it's not long ago when you had a child spilling abuses to another, and it has been all over. So socially, we've also changed. And then politically, I guess it's all over. you see how a politician behaves, what they say outside,
Yeah.
all this affects
Yeah.
them. So it's so much.
What they say, and then at the end of the day, the children also watch the news and see
Yes.
what they are saying.
Yeah.
But something intriguing is that you've mentioned we try and give the kids everything. I think probably it's a way of parents overcompensating, because I didn't have this, so I don't want my child to lack. But in this aspect of a parent not wanting their child to lack, then they are quote unquote spoiling the child, because you are now setting a standard that is detaching them from reality. And I think I really like that explanation, which makes sense. Let's talk about how forms of discipline have also, disciplining a child have also changed. Nowadays, the road is away from the child. You know, we have things like timeout, or when a child does something, they're told, today you won't game. You know, these are words we didn't know when we were growing up. It's the stick or the stick. You're being caned. Yeah. Does this have any impact, or discipline is still discipline? Yeah.
That's a good one. The problem that we have in terms of discipline is that the generation of today and the laws that have, that's how I was even blaming the politicians coming up with some laws to, they give these students so much time, so much freedom to do things. Although conforming to United Nations standards, or even the global network standards on the child protection, yes, child protection is a fundamental right. Actually, it's the basic right that everyone should have. But still, there should be some checks and balances. And these checks and balances can be controlled to our parents, the society, and even the institutions that have been placed. But now, there are so many forms that can be used as a way of punishing a child. It's not a matter of even taking a road, and just like us, you know, when we're still in school, you see, I usually give a joke of in my school back at the rural home. You cannot find the lower branches. Those ones have been utilized on us. So you only see the branches up that there, but you still find a way of climbing up, getting one and caning. So that was a form by then. But the child, or the generation of now, is a child that when even if you give one stroke, he or she may die. Yes, I don't know what has changed to our food. I don't know what has changed to our body. So they're likely to die. Sometimes you realize that the more you beat the child or you cane the child, as the more the child acquires what you call the adaptability, they adapt to caning. And so when we will be punishing the child, maybe you kill the child, which is not, again, appropriate. You want to correct the child. So there are so many ways you can do. And we can talk of guidance counseling. You can give good examples. And you as a parent, you as a society, you can also behave well. And that's another punishment. You see, if a child sees that my community conforms like this, or my house, my father, my dad conforms like this, you know, mentally, or we can say psychologically, they'll be triggered to understand themselves in that, knowing if they do ABCD, that will cause a problem. So that is a punishment. You set up good examples. We can also use good moral people who can talk to our young children. You can also give case examples of many people who went aside and did not conform to the rules of the community and how they ended up. So you can give all these examples. Another thing is teaching, getting your kids a good training. And that is by not leaving 80% or 90% of your responsibility to the teacher or a trainer or a priest. You should take, first you take every responsibility of the child
as the parent,
before you, before you expose this child outside there. So I may say that punishment is relative but it depends on which context are you doing it. Yes.
But do not do it to the extreme.
Yes, you don't do it to the
because
extreme.
we have parents who ban their kids and all that. No, we are against that. By
Yes.
mention that you don't have to use the road.
Yes.
Just ensure that the child realizes, if I do this, there's a consequence after.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. I think for me, I like that. Of course, that's a statement that I feel like is debatable, because you have people who still believe hadi ni chape kiboko ndo mtoto ajue they're being disciplined. So definitely talk to us. Tell us, how do you discipline your child? Do you still use the road, or do you think that is backward right now? Talk to us on our comment section. Facebook and YouTube is at CAC TV Kenya. And now, when we're talking about disciplining a child, let's talk about ensuring that you're disciplining your child in a way that won't cause trauma to them. Let's just generally talk about childhood trauma, and as well as how, as a parent, you think you are correcting your child, but then what you're doing is you're traumatizing them and causing them pain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. We begin with the basic component that a child needs, and that is in the principle of what we call the psychology of growth. So growth has so many things, and growth adapt to the environment. So when a child grows, there's something that happens. So we may call it growth and development. Yes, there's change in the body, there's change in the thinking, there's also change in how you do things physically, change in the technology.
Yeah.
So if you're talking about this thing, then these are the fundamental things that you should look at. The society, is it correct for the growth of the child? The set rules, is it good for the child? And again, look at the makeup of the child, because I have said a child of today is a child that you cannot cane successfully every day, and then the following morning realize. So it can cause mental issues to the child. A child may grow up and may develop some things that are not good. Remember, at a younger age, there's a stage called the Electra and Odepa amongst the boys and girls, where a girl resumes the roles of the mother, and the boy takes up the role of the mother. And this stage is so critical. This is where you realize a child may end up to be even going towards the social norm or the biological norm of maybe leaning towards, if it is a boy, leaning towards a girl, or a girl leaning towards a boy. So it becomes vice versa, and you know what I'm talking about. So this is the Electra and Odepa stage is another stage that requires a good parenting. Another thing, for the mental and growth, we also need to relate our children with the environment that they live in. Make use of the available resources. If it is, let's say, a less fortunate area, then use the available resource, but don't do something that will impact the child negatively. Yes. Again, another fundamental part that we should do is raising your child in the name of God. Always put your prayers first before everything. Guide them. Even if you are in Islamic, you are in Hindu, you are a Christian, make sure that you commit the child to God, and the God, or our God, will reward us back. So we do things according to what the environment offers, and again, the spirituality part of it. Yes.
There's this stage that you've mentioned. I might not know how to pronounce. Yes. The lecture in what? Let's talk about that. How when the child, at what age is that period? Because from what you mentioned, I think it's really important that parents out there know about it.
Around from age 3 to 4 there, you realize that sometimes a girl will run to the father. And that you let him know that the stage has and sometimes you realize that the boy hates the mother. It's the father, but leans towards the mother. But once that stage is over, it should reverse again. Now the girl should come to the mother, and the boy should come to the father and assumes the role of the father. And if that psychological mindset is gotten right, then the child is now able to do the roles of the father if it's a male, and the girl is ready to do the roles or to acquire the roles of the mother. So it starts at the age of around 3. Okay. Yes.
So what I'm getting is that parenting should be conscious.
Yes.
You know, you should know and actually plan and see, this is, I'm a parent, this is I'm supposed to bring up my child, you know, which is quite a task. But I think at the end of the day, it's a fulfilling task to see your child grow up in a way that is pleasing, in a way that is honorable. It's so fulfilling, I can imagine. You also mentioned about bringing up your child in a way that they honor God and respect God, despite of the religion that you're coming from. And this is a point as well that has caused a lot of debate, and people say, I'll leave a child to grow up, then let them decide what religion they want to follow. Because then if you as a parent instill your beliefs to the child, it's like you're infringing the rights of that child. Honestly, for me, I don't believe that. I feel like if I'm a Christian and I'm bringing up my child, definitely I should introduce the child to what I believe in. What is your take on that?
That is okay. That's okay. But there's an age. There's an age of maturity that you can now expose the child to the external conditions. But within the internal condition, you as a child, you know the rate of thinking of your child. You know the rate of socialization of your child. You as a parent, you know that this one is mature and this one is not. If I tie the knot like this, then he or she may run away. So it is not a constant thing that you say at this age. Parenthood should go all the way to the end. Even if they're in the house, if they fight in the house, they still come back to the parents and say, no, so and so is abusing me, or she's abusing me. You'll still be the parent. Yes, until the end. So there's no point you say that, a point that you will say that they cannot live on their own and do that. No. The definition of a human being is that a human being is a social being. Is a social being, and within the social being, there are so many actors and operators, or we can say the ingredients that makes it look sociable. So within it, there are negatives and positives and neutrals. Yes.
All right.
So you choose one. Yes. But you can always set that aside. Yes.
But what you've said, parenting goes till the end.
Yes.
There doesn't come a time as a parent where you wash your hands and say, you know what, I've done my best, I'm no longer a parent. Because that doesn't happen. Once you're a parent, there's no going back. You know, I'm saying this because I've seen children come of age and then their parents tell them, you are now old enough, you have an ID, maybe I've taken you through school so you can be independent and stand on your own, and forget you ever had a parent, you know. And sometimes it's hard because this child has known, this is my mom or this is my dad, and then all of a sudden one day you wake up and you realize, okay, so I'm on my own now. There's no one to run back to, you know. So thank you for putting that out. And if you're watching us, just know, once you're a parent, you never go back. We're taking a very short break. Do not go too far. Keep it right here.
Consider trusting God. Consider trusting God. Consider trusting God all the time.
Our esteemed viewers, Greetings in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. This Sunday, the 5th of December 2021, CAC TV, in conjunction with the CAC session and the Children Ministry of Kitengela Parish, invites you to join us as we mark the climax of PCEA Church School Week 2021. The service will be hosted by Reverend Michael Njige, the parish minister. The guest speaker will be Reverend Peter Kariuki Nderitu, the director, PCEA Children's Ministry. The service will reflect on the theme, Consider Trusting in God. In the afternoon, don't miss an exciting session of Youth Tuko program live from CAC TV studios. The session will be hosted by Reverend Anthony Miringu, the director, PCEA Youth Department. Tune into CAC TV on Signet, CAC TV Kenya on Facebook and YouTube to fellowship with us.
Consider trusting God. Consider trusting God. Consider trusting God all the time.
Welcome to the 12th graduation ceremony of the Presbyterian University of East Africa. The virtual event will be on Friday 10th December 2021 at the main campus in Thogoto, Kikuyu, starting from 9 a.m. It will be streamed live on CAC TV and Puer Facebook and YouTube channels. The theme for this year's graduation is Considering New Ways in Education in a Competitive World. The chief guest will be His Excellency Lee Kinyanjui, Governor Nakuru County. At Puer, we are proud to release yet another group of holistically trained graduates to the job market.
I'm graduating with a Bachelor of Education Science, that is Biology and Chemistry. I'm proud to be graduating and I thank God for this far.
Join Puer, the Christian University of choice, and become part of the global network of graduates.
That this is a great day that all of us we are looking forward to, as we are graduating about 500 students in various programs. We welcome all our stakeholders to be with us at this particular time as we celebrate the class of 2021.
Our January, May, and December 2022 intakes are ongoing. Visit www.puer.ac.ke for more information on the graduation, our academic programs, and application procedure.
I take the opportunity to really congratulate all the graduates for the effort they have put and the resilience that they have shown over this period. I would like to urge them to take what they have learned here, take it seriously, maintain discipline when they are out there, and become adventurous in a world that has changed quite significantly.
The Council, Board of Trustees, staff and faculty congratulate the graduating class of 2021. Let the celebrations begin.
Alright, welcome back and thank you so much for keeping it right here. Welcome to the second part of tonight's episode. We are talking about just parenthood and ensuring that we raise up our kids in a manner that is honorable and fulfilling to us as parents, and that we instill the right qualities and discipline in them and bring up in a way that will teach them to trust in God. Remember, this is the Church School Week 2021, and in case you missed any of the programs that have been running throughout the week, catch up with them after the episode on our YouTube page and Facebook, that is CAC TV Kenya. And even as you continue with this second part, do talk to us on our social media pages on the comment section. Tell us, how probably did your upbringing affect you? On the first part, we've talked about childhood trauma. Do you have any of those, and how have you overcome and find your healing? And what means and methods of discipline do you use on your kid? Do you still use the rod, or is it the timeout and denying them gifts and good things? I think I'd really like to know that, so talk to us on our comment section and we'll be looking at them in a few. Right about now, Mr. Nyanga, I think I'd like us to talk about what is happening in our schools. This is something that we cannot ignore. On social media, blame game is all over. I was reading a post yesterday, and people were saying how parents should take responsibility. Parents are saying, but teachers spend time with these children. Teachers at school are saying we can't cane them because it is not acceptable. So how is supposed to discipline them? And it's a whole cycle of blame game. And on the first part, you mentioned that we need to go back to, you know, bringing up our kids as a society. So let's talk about the role that everyone plays in ensuring that children come out right. You know, that all of us have a role, both the parents, both the teachers, and the society. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Basing the facts and the figures that we've been given, at which there is some kind of indiscipline going around the country, it has actually overwhelmed us. And you only realize that most of these things have happened in public schools. Yes, in public schools. And this is because the majority are in public schools. And this is where there are so many policies that have been developed by the government to these policies, and the teachers, the parents. So to set the record straight is that in every indiscipline that occurs within our institutions is a problem of the entire society. That includes the authority, the government, the Ministry of Education, all the ministries are included. We talk of the parent, we talk of the community also. So when we start with the parents, I had stated earlier that leaving your responsibility for the teacher to do it for you, that is very wrong. Secondly, we can talk of the government. Look at the status of the teachers in Kenya. I mean, they're not even compensated well. And this is somebody you expect to deal with your child. And more so in a class, let's say it's a class of 100 people. You as the teacher, you are the parent of entire population that is in that class. You are expected to guide them into the right way. Secondly, you are paid poorly. So that means you lack motivation of carrying out your duties well. Then thirdly, we can also blame it in the socioeconomic status of teachers. A child comes, you know, he or she is driven in with a Range Rover to school, and you as a teacher, you still apply Route 11. You just walk, you just walk daily to your school, and then a child or a student or a pupil looks at you and say, "No, I don't want to be a teacher. See how this teacher looks like." Yes. Not forgetting that this teacher, he or she is also a parent. So there's a lot that has been given to teachers. And I'll tell you why Teach for Kenya is doing it differently later. Again, we can also talk on the policy frameworks that have been formulated. It has been formulated disregarding some fundamental things. For example, you are employing a teacher, there are few. There are so many children to be taken care of. It will not be enough for all these students, peoples to be known. Because if it was as per the ratio considered by the UNESCO, United Nations, then there is a ratio between a teacher and a pupil or a student. But for us, you realize that one teacher serves in multiple ratios that does not even allow the teacher to know the intrinsic understanding of a child. So you don't know the child in person because you don't have time. There's so many. By the time you finish marking, you're already tired. And that's why most of our teachers, some tend to die, some even consume poison because of stress level. we are not looking at the mental health of our teachers. So we don't take care of them. Then when we come back to now the community and the society, they no longer care. What people care about is money. What people care about is getting any means that you can survive with. It doesn't matter even if you give a child drugs to transport for you somewhere. That is, and you expect this child to be a mature society.
Yeah.
When you normally say a state that does not care its own children is a state that does not have future.
That's
because
true.
You are tampering with their future.
Yeah.
When it comes to the political arena, we also talk about how these people can enrich themselves, add salary to themselves whenever they want, forgetting teachers, forgetting the policemen, forgetting the counselors that can employ to take care of the children.
Yeah.
Classroom, building classroom, connect people to electricity to access all this. It becomes so bad. So the responsibility lies in a whole round society with all these players, because we cannot blame anyone. We blame ourselves. All of us are culprits.
All of us.
Yes.
It is deeper than what we see.
Yes.
And for me, what I like is that you've also highlighted the health of our teachers and their welfare, especially their mental health. Yes. Because if we're saying they spend most time with our kids and they're not okay mentally, what impact will they have? You know, how will they be able to interact well with our children? And even speaking about all that, the framework, the policies, and all the players involved, I can't fail to ask, will corporal punishment solve this, or we still need to look at the whole framework? You know, because you've mentioned that, yes, it is important. Every one of us is involved. But teachers are saying, allow us to punish these children. Tutawanyorosha. You know, kitambo, we didn't have these problems. So is that a solution, or that's just a quick way out, which will just lead us to the same place? Yeah.
Yes, we'll still have to go back to the basic, and that is the origin. Is how did we bring up these children? You start from there. Then, the moment you know the root cause, then you'll be able to treat it rather than waiting for all that time and then you start correcting. That will not. The child has already acquired the behaviors.
Yeah.
And so what is required to be done is maybe to find a program of making sure that there is a withdrawal, but it is gradual. Again, drastic withdrawal affects the child. So that's a problem. So the only thing that you can do, I'm not saying that we should use a rod or should cane a child. Now let's go back to our parental norms. Let's take our child as ours. Make sure that we know where our child, where they're coming from and where they're going to. Always make sure that we give our children the right teaching. And sometimes I also blame technology. We expose our children to technology as early as they know how to use a phone. I can tell you, get a child and the way he or she manipulates the remote or the phone, you cannot even imagine. So they're exposed to so many bad things. So let's go back to the root cause.
Okay.
And start with there, the parenting guidance before giving our children to the community.
All right.
Yes, and allow the members of the community to correct your child. Yes, I'm not saying they should kill your child, but allow them. Yes, if you hear anything bad, investigate. Don't say that you are accusing my child. You see, you've realized, most of the time you realize that a child or a student has been killed for stealing, and you still say that my child was a good child and he or she conformed to the society and all that. You start blaming people. but in real sense, you are not a good parent to the child. And sometimes you realize a child telling the parents off, but you are never there for me. So why do you want to correct me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's speak about culture. Okay, building a healthy relationship between the parent and the child in a way that the child can open up about anything to the parent, because I believe that is necessary to help this child have healthy coping mechanisms, as well as just have someone to talk to. Yeah.
That's a good one too. If you really want to understand your children, the first thing you should do, become a friend of your children. We normally say, as a teacher, when you get into the class, if you are given a grade 1 child, reduce your mind to the child as the one of the child. So after, even if it's a matter of dancing, dance with the child, and then the child will start opening up. They will know that, kumbe mwalimu or our teacher can reason like me. So the child will start opening up. So become a friend first.
Okay.
Then after you're a friend of the child, discover the child. Once you discover the child, then now you can give the correct diagnosis to the child. You'll know the disease. And the child will always be like a patient telling you, I'm in pain. This ABCD is happening in my body. So why can't you help me? You'll always know the correct diagnosis. So let's become a friend of the child, get in them, and then be at the center of everything. And nowadays we say, let it become a child-centered thing, not a parent-centered thing. You stand there as a guidance, but you are part and parcel of this child. Help the child discover themselves by discovering them.
All right.
Yes, first discover the child,
them.
and then you will now know the correct medicine for them.
I like that. I think that is very enlightening and very powerful. First, discover the child, then help them discover themselves. Parenting has no manual. I think that is one of the biggest challenges there is when it comes to parenting and bringing up a child. Because first of all, every child is different. Yes, they are from the same parents, but every child is different and have different needs, different emotions, different strengths and weaknesses. And it's quite a challenge. We cannot sit here and lie that parenting is easy peasy, and call people bad parents. So you are doing your best. And we have moments where parents feel like they're not giving their best. Could be because they are not able to provide, or just because of different reasons. And I think for me, I want to assure parents out there that keep doing your best. That is all that your child requires. Keep being there and keep doing your best. And even as we are talking about this, just maybe speak to parents who are watching us on what would your advice be when it comes to parenting, when it comes to ensuring that you bring up your child in a way that will make them become disciplined, will make them have trust in God, will make them be good role models in the society.
Yes, as parents, we need to discover our children. Let us guide them. As you said, it doesn't have a manual, but it has what we call, I can use two terms in life, this absolute and relative. So relative, we say, is as good as, is as old as. We are not sure, but there's a relationship. So it should always be like that to the end. Then absolute, yes, this is now where you come up with the laws. You know the exact, this we call exact number, exact age, exact habit. What do you want the child to do? So let it be absolute, but when you're parenting, it should be relative. So you stay with it to the end. Then another thing is to involve the stakeholders. Always involve the child in the laws or the bylaws or the policies that you come up with, consider the child.
Okay.
Consider our modern day. It's not the old days that
Yeah.
you'd say, even if I give him 30 strokes, 50 strokes, he or she will still survive.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not like that. Let's find an alternative way of dealing with the children. Even with the current situation that is happening in Kenya, there are so many schools that were being banned. And you realize there was blaming lack of midterm. The children have been in school for so long.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't do that. Even the private schools have been
in
on,
school,
yes,
yeah.
and you can't hear that kind of nonsense happening. It's only in public school. Then it means there's something wrong that the government is also missing in our institution. So we need to become a member and allow the children to be the stakeholders of these policies. Let us understand them and transform them in their own understanding.
Yeah.
Yes, but if you say that we'll start caning them or there'll be some kind of corporal punishment, that will not. Even us from Teach for Kenya, whenever we are posting our own teachers to go and teach in schools, one of our policies is that we don't allow corporal punishment, we don't allow caning, but we allow them to be punished in another way. In other words, we use what we call positive framing in understanding our child.
Yeah.
You use the positive words. Even if a child raises the hand and you say, and he or she says something wrong, you say, no, it's not like that, but you can do better than that. You don't say you are wrong, sit down. Or you call your child monkey in class.
Yeah.
You are demoralizing that child. Yes.
Okay. I think, wow, you I like how you have wisdom when it comes to this area, and how you're putting facts out, you know, hitting the nail on the head. But one thing I've also learned is when you mentioned about including children, even in policy making, is that children have a voice as well, that they need to be considered and they need to be heard. Yeah, so do not ignore your child. I think that's something I'd want to tell parents. Do not ignore your child, especially when they're young. A lot of people, when they're coming out on either abuse, especially sexual abuse they experience, they'll mention that walitajia mom, walitajia dad, but they were ignored. They said, wewe, wache yo maneno. So do not disregard your kid, whatever they are saying, and listen to them, even when you're making house rules and policy. It could be as simple as Saturdays, you'll wash the utensils. Include them in that decision making. And think that is also teaching them leadership skills, you know, because if they are seeing you doing it and you're including them, you're also passing down the baton. Well, I'm talking too much, but even before we conclude, I think it will be unfair if we don't touch on teachers, especially from you are from Teach for Kenya. Tell us, speak to teachers out there, you know, just how different you do things. Give a word of advice to them. Even with, you mentioned with them with the stress levels, they need to take care of themselves as well. Yeah, so just say something.
Thank you so much. And what I'll say about teachers is that the work that they are doing is a calling. They are called to serve. Let them be the servants. The reason why I'm saying that I'll relate it to the organization I work for. Actually, we are headed by an amazing lady. She's called Madam Yukabeth Kidenta. And actually, she recently appeared in the top 100 people being discussed is in Kenya, and those who have impacted the society. Then, in the organization, even as we are talking right now, this training called Summer Institute, we recruit the fresh graduates, and then we train them.
Okay.
We retrain them. So in training, we are training to raise up leaders. And some of them have been amazing. So we train them on things to do with mental health, to be implemented in class before we post them in their various schools.
Yeah.
Yes. And we are working in the difficult societies, less fortunate societies like slums. Those are the areas that we are posting our teachers there. And remember, posting a graduate to go and teach grade 1, 2, 3, like that, with their degree. So it's quite traumatizing. At the
Yeah.
same time, we are making it to look like it is fun for them. So we train mental health, the positive training, framing, methodologies of teaching, how to manage a class, school, society, and more so how to develop projects within the schools that they're posted in. So in addition to that, we are also training teachers. We recently trained teachers from Homa Bay County, around 400 of them. In Nairobi here, we've trained so many. But we are training to make their work look easier, for them to love their job, for them to make an impact in the society. So what I'll say to teachers is that you are serving a purpose in this world, and your purpose is to transform the world. So you as a listener that you are getting this from us, also consider a teacher as a human being. Know very well that our teachers carry so much, and don't overburden our teachers. Except give them motivation. Make sure that the environment that is created for them is actually good for their survival, and it's also good for the growth of the child. So that's what I'll say. And I'm very, very grateful for the organization Team for Kenya. We are also grateful to the government that has given us the opportunity to partner with them and train their teachers.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Sawa. Thank you as well for coming here today, for sharing your wisdom and insights to this topic. We are grateful and we appreciate it. I think for me, my takeaway home is that parenting never ends. You know how we say, let me have a kid now so that when I'm 50, I'm free and I relax. You won't be free if your child is still alive and well. You're still a parent, you still have a responsibility. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you as well to you for tuning in to today's episode. Talk to me. Tell me, what is your takeaway home? What have you learned from today's episode? I would like to know that, as well as share this video to as many people as possible. And let's transform the society through this. My name is Faith Kaulu. Till next time, goodbye.